So today we will learn how we can manage purchase orders inside the on-site software application. So this is the desktop application that we are looking at. Here is the procurement tab where the procurement team or the purchase order team will work. The process actually starts from the material request. The material request is raised by the site team inside the project. So let's start with the material request, then we will come to the purchase orders. So we will go inside any particular project, let's say NH10 roadwork. Inside this project, let's say the site team is now raising the request through the mobile phone. We will create one request from the desktop application for now. Here we will raise the material request. We will add 6 stone and aggregates in the request. Let's say the quantity required is 100 quintal of stones and 1000 cubic feet of aggregates. Now we can see material request is created. The next step is material request has to be approved by the admin. Now let's say both the requests are genuine. The requests are being approved by the admins. Now we can see these two requests inside the approved section here. Now the procurement team work starts now. We will go into the procurement tab and try to raise the purchase order for this particular project. Now we can see all the open material requests which are approved, but the purchase order is not yet raised for all of these requests. Here we can see the requests which are generated today, aggregates and 6 stone. Both these requests are approved. Now let's try raising a purchase order. Create PO. We will select the party name. Let's say Agarwal Lights is my vendor name. And the project name is NH10 Roadwork, where the request we have raised. We can automatically see the approved material request in this particular project. Right, so aggregates and stone we will select where we want to raise the purchase order. Automatically the quantity will be fetched from the material request. We have the site name here, vendor name here, company name here, and the PO number is here. If we want to edit the PO number, we can do that. If we want to edit the purchase order date also, we can do that. Unit rate we can select, let's say 50 rupees is the unit rate of aggregates and the stone unit rate is 55. If we want to add any discount or taxes, we can do that. Let's say add 12% tax here, 12% tax here. Now this is the total value of the purchase order. We can also add terms and conditions and any notes if we want to do that. So we are entering any sample notes here. Any additional discount or charges, we can do that. And we will just save this. Now the purchase order is raised, but it's in the pending stage. The admin has to approve this purchase order to be able to send this purchase order to the vendor. We will go into the purchase order. Here we can see the purchase order. Now we can approve this purchase order. Right? Now we will go into the project again and see if the request which were raised, can we see that the request has been fulfilled or not yet? Because this is already raised to the vendor. We will go into the project and see those material requests again. Here we can see that request in the ordered section now. We can see fully ordered. Stone and aggregates both are fully ordered because we have ordered this in the full quantity. Right now we have raised the purchase order, request is already fulfilled. Now the next step would be the material would be received onto the site by the site team against this purchase order which we have just raised now. Now let's go into the project. The site team will now receive the material in the site. We will click on receive. We will select the vendor which we have where we have raised the purchase order. We can see these two purchase order items here. The purchase order which was just raised now. We will select these two items. Let's say the items which we are receiving is aggregates and stone. Let's say the stone is not received. So we will just select the aggregates. We can also change the quantity. If the stone received is not of 1000 quantity but of only 900 quantity. So we can add any challan number or we can add notes also, upload the pictures of the stones or the bills and we can save it. Now if we go to the purchase order again, we can see that against this particular item, 900 quantity is received, but 100 is pending. Against this particular item, no quantity is received yet because we haven't received any item from this 6 stones. Now we have received the material onto the site also. The next step would be the vendor will send the bill to the office. Once the bill is received, the office team will now create the purchase booking. They will go into the project, same project. Now they will try to book the material purchase. They will select the vendor name. They will select the items because we only received aggregates which were of 900 quantity only. So we can select that particular item. The PO number 10 is already mentioned here. And we can, unit rate is already fetched from the purchase order. And we can mention any discount or charges if we are given by the vendor, or we can add any references. And if we have paid any amount, we can do that. Let's say advance amount paid is 10,000, so balance due is 40,000. So this is the kind of bill that we are entering right now, and we will just save this. So now we can see that material purchase bill is 50,000 and advance paid is 10,000. Remaining is 40,400. So this is how we can manage the purchase orders inside the platform. So I'll again repeat. Once the material request is raised by the site team, the request will be approved by the admin. Once the request is approved, then then the procurement team will create the purchase orders against those requests and send it to the vendor. Once the purchase order is created, the vendor will send the material to the site. Then the office team will receive the material inside their own mobile application. They will receive the material and enter the data here. Once the material is received, then the office team will do the purchase booking once the bill is received by the office team from the vendor side. So this is how we can manage the whole process of purchase orders. Thank you.